Well, howdy everybody, welcome back to At Long Last. I know I've been talking about doing this video for a while, but I literally found out something new about this guitar right before I even hit record on the cameras. So what am I holding in my hands? Well, this is a 1979 Gibson 335 Pro. Now right off the bat, when I first saw this on, I saw it on REVV actually, I bought it from Chicago Music Exchange, but I saw it and I was just like, ooh, a red 35, ooh, dot neck, that's what I wanted. And then I was like, Pro? Bro? And I was, a little bit concerned at first about the Pro, but I'm like looking at it, I'm like, man, it's from 1979. I have a Les Paul, which you'll hear about here in a minute, because there's another kind of like convenient little twist between those two guitars. I go, I have a Les Paul from the 70s, so I'm already kind of familiar with that style of, Norland era neck, and then this was also made in Kalamazoo. So I was just kind of like, I don't know, this seems like if there was ever a 335, all the ones I've played, I'm like, this just seems like the perfect one for me. And sure enough, I got it, and I was just kind of looking into what Pro meant a little bit more, because I was a little bit concerned. I was like, who knows? Maybe it was a marketing kind of scheme where they're like, oh, they're cheaper to make than a normal one, but they're calling them the Pros, or, something like that. And sure enough, no, it was not. The Pro is its own thing. But the first little fact I'm going to hit you with is that it was only made for 3 years. It was made from 79 to 81. I don't know if they were all made in Kalamazoo. This particular one is. But, that's the first thing I was just like, oh, wow. So this was like kind of a short-lived guitar, but it was designed and made more to suit the needs of kind of like fusion rock guys versus a more traditional 335. So the next part of all these shenanigans, that like I said, I'm looking up specs after I had already bought it. I was like, I don't know, it looks great. And like I said, it was from Chicago Music Exchange, and you have 3 days, and you can return it and just pay for shipping. So I was like, I'm confident and comfortable that they've done their research to know what this guitar is. But as I'm looking it up, one of the things they kept mentioning is the nut width. It's a little bit smaller, so the neck is not as wide as a normal 335. It measures at 158 is what this one is. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, because that's kind of what I like. I like a thicker neck, like the actual thickness, like this way, but I like a narrower neck that way. It's kind of like if you play like an Ibanez. Like those boards are so wide, they hurt my hand because I play with my thumb over the neck a lot. So I'm always doing like chording stuff, like the riff in the song. You can see I use my thumb over the neck a lot. But that was the first thing. That's the first. That's the second thing that I kind of found out. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that was like such a big deal. But whenever I played it, I'm like, oh, this is really, really comfortable. It's a very comfortable neck. And like I said, those 70s necks just have a feel to them. So the next one, since we're on the topic of the neck, I'm going to hit you with is one I literally learned 5 minutes ago. I hadn't looked into, or just paid attention, I guess. I found another website that had some more information about these right before I was hitting record. I was just kind of, wanting to dive around a little bit more. And I saw something on there, I was like, huh? And it was talking about the scale length of the guitar. Because it said that the scale length of the Pros was 24 and a half. So if you know, typical Gibson scale length is 24 3/4. And since I've had this guitar, I've always felt like, the strings are 10s. I'm like, they just feel so slinky. I'm like, I feel like I need to go up, because on both my Les Pauls, the strings feel so much tighter. And I'm like, I don't know, like these just feel like loose. Like I think I'm gonna have to either, I don't know if they make a 10.5 gauge set or 11s, but I'm like, I think I have to go up a gauge of strings, and I didn't understand why. Like, why would this guitar feel so much more loose than the other ones? And I'm like, what? And I went and got my tape measure and measure. I'm like, it is. It's 24.5. So how funny, but that's exactly why. So I think I am going to have to go up a gauge of strings. But, yeah, and I believe my PRS is 25 as well. So it's funny that, yeah, that was the thing. Like I said, I found out just now. I'm like, it all makes sense. It's all coming together. Alright, so the next thing that kind of caught me off guard was the pickups. Now, I just assumed, now I know that in the last video I said, you know, this is more of a blues guitar. I think that's what it was intended for, blues jazz. I know it got used a bunch in rock. It's certainly a rock and roll guitar. But I assumed the pickups would be, you know, lower output is what I assumed. You know, maybe that was silly to assume that, but that was just kind of what I thought. But as I was researching it, this particular model comes with a very interesting set of pickups for this style. This comes with the Gibson Dirty Finger pickups. Now, these are the original ones that came in the guitar, and they are so smoking hot. I mean, these are next to maybe my some active pickups. Like, these are the hottest pickups I have here. They're so hot. Like, if you heard this on any of my other guitars, you would see how much of a gain difference, because I don't have much gain, and it's just these pickups are so hot. I believe they measure in at around 17K, or at least the neck does. The bridge, they said, was like 8, which I find that hard to believe on the website, so I don't have a way to actually measure it myself. But trust me, they are smoking hot pickups. Like, here's the neck pickup. I mean, they're just so hot. I mean, it's cool because I normally like a lower output pickup, but you know, everything about this guitar, the reason why I wanted it, the reason what I like about it is it makes me play differently. And I'm like, well, you know what? If it's you know, affecting me that way, why not keep it? You know, it's a sound that's different to me too, a very hot pickup, and it's a really interesting one. But like I said, these are Dirty Fingers. I believe these are the same things that Sykes used in Whitesnake, but don't quote me on that. But a lot of people have used Dirty Finger pickups, and like I said, to me it just seems like such an over-the-top choice for this guitar, but I mean, they work, and I'm actually having a hard time, if I play this guitar too much, when I go back to one of my other guitars, they all sound so small now. You know, like this guitar just sounds so thick and so fat. I'm like, wow, the notes are so round, that when I go back to like one of my normal guitars, I'm just kind of like, huh, I'm gonna go back to 335. And the final thing I want to leave you guys off with is a connection that this guitar has with my 79KM. Now, as many of you guys know, or if you're new to the channel, maybe you don't know, but my my Les Paul KM is my #1 guitar. It's my favorite guitar that I own. It's, you know, I think my best sounding guitar. Well, maybe it's not the best sounding guitar to other people, but to me, it's the one that inspires me the most. And I love that guitar. And when I got this guitar, I ran the serial number, and I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. So basically, my KM, the Les Paul, was made in 1979 on July 31st. That's when the neck is stamped. And this one was made 1979 on July 20th. So it's 11 days older than my KM. But odds are, they were probably in the factory at the same time being made. And then they both went their separate ways for, you know, 40 years, basically. And, you know, here they are back together. Because I've had the KM for like 3 or 4 years now, but it was so cool. I was like, whoa, because this one, I can't remember the exact serial number on the KM. This one was production number 8 of that day. I thought that it was only fair that I risked going out of focus to go get the guitar. So, like I said, this one was made This was number 44 of the day as I clang them together. And this is number 8. So like I said, on July 20th, 1979, this guy was stamped. It was the 8th guitar of that day. And then, you know, 11 days later, this guy's neck was made and stamped. And you can feel the difference in them, like even with just right now. But, so you can see, I can't read this serial number. But I just love knowing that these guitars were made at around the same time. Like I said, this is my favorite guitar. 40 years they traveled around. Who knows where they went? Maybe this one stayed in one spot for 40 years. Whatever it is. But basically, you know, their paths ended up coming back together. And, you know, started in the factory. Now they're back in this house, and I hope I get to keep them forever. And I just feel fortunate to get to own them. You know, I love the whole, you know, thinking of the guitars story, like if it could talk. Like, where have they been this whole time? So, hopefully they're here to stay. You know, I don't ever plan on getting rid of them. So, I will see you guys later. If you want to, you could subscribe if you feel like it. If not, it's totally cool. I appreciate you watching the video anyways. And I will see you all later. Bye, guys. Whoop!